welcome to my new channel where we take old clothes and make it fashion. Sorry if I spit in your face, but welcome back to my channel. If you didn't subscribe yet, please consider doing that because I do cool DIY fashion videos, upcycling and fabric manipulation every week. So if that sounds good, you know what to do. And don't forget to turn on the notifications so that you will be notified when the madness begins. So today I wanted to do a part 2 of a series, kind of two-part kind of thing, where I show you an easier way to get this kind of patchwork that I'm wearing now. It looks very random, but I made like a pattern part of every piece of what you see basically, and that's why I ended up having, in my opinion, like a cool collar and a cool kind of shape and this kind of straight lines in the back. It was all kind of thought out and basically drawn on a pattern. And I just ended up with having a pattern of like 50 pieces or something. And I thought there must be a way to do it easier, so I'm gonna show that today. So I still had like rest pieces of the fabrics of my last project and I'm gonna use them to make like a cycling shorts. The first step I'm gonna start with making the pattern, and I'm gonna use this cycling pants that I already have as my base for the pattern. But again, you can use any garment you like. The method will be basically the same. So you can use a t-shirt or a crop top, anything that you like to have your patchwork garment from. You need some paper to trace your pattern on, and you need some weights to keep your garment as flat as possible. And to trace the crotch seam, I'm just using pins to push through and poke little holes, like little markings that I can use to connect the dots later. I really love to reuse, reduce, recycle and use these old paper bags as pattern paper, but is it the most convenient solution? These paper bags are stronger than pins, man. How long to make the legs? I can better make them a little too long, I guess. So I'm not gonna do like any like hemline or anything because, well, it's all gonna be like raw edge. But I'm gonna do like a waistband because I think it's pretty and it might also keep the pants up a little bit better. Just feels logical to do to me. And then you should end up with something like this. Since now these side seams ended up being so straight, I'm just gonna not do a side seam. So I'm gonna stick my pattern together. Let the back flow over in the front. Of course you want no crazy corners sticking out on the side, so I'm gonna correct my pattern. So I just drew it on the pattern here around the, well, where the waistband was in my original cycling pants. But I think it's a little bit of a small waistband. Why not make it a little bit wider? I find my tripod on the street, guys, so if the camera is not always super straight, it might be that. The best things in life are free, aren't they? So I have my pattern here on the right and I have my scraps of fabric, or well, they're quite big pieces still. What I'm gonna do now is just make a patchwork that overlaps the pattern. I'm gonna like generously, yeah. So I'm gonna make a patchwork generously, make the pieces a bit bigger so that I can cut out the exact shape of the pattern later. I'm just gonna sew pieces of fabric together
and surprise myself what is gonna be the end result.
I think the fun of this kind of work can also be that it can be random.
You just have to fabrics are so light that they're not grabbing that well. So you have to help a little. Just make sure to not have any pins near the knife of the machine. That will ruin the knife. Thread has broken. And if you come at like a corner like this, for example, you can just try to straighten the fabric like this and continue sewing. You can just stretch things out if it doesn't fit, guys. That's what makes it so flexible and easy. You just have to pull a little bit under the machine. I'm just trying to imagine where I'm gonna wear this. It's getting winter. It's gonna be a shorts. Would it be too extra to wear this at the gym, you think? like continuing steady, but that thing is getting weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder, I have the feeling. Because obviously I'm just cutting by freehand. I don't know how other people were doing this, but yeah, it's getting some weird ass shapes, I must say. Like it looks like this kind of point brass of Jean-Paul Gaultier. But I decided to just not worry too much about it now, because I can always cut something off and go over it again. Yeah, this is just a little bit of freestyle sewing. I hope my sewing teacher is not watching. Also, of course, if I'm gonna put it on my like big butt, it might stretch out. It wants to grow that way, and I did not intend it to. So I think I'm just gonna cut a bit off here and sew it to here. So I just discovered like a tiny hole here in this like minty colored fabric. And I'm so glad we're doing this patchwork now. I'm just gonna make an extra seam right over it to just basically cover the hole. So I get like a lot of my clothes from the textile waste, or basically where they sort out the textiles and the clothing that they cannot sell in their stores and that they cannot give to the homeless people, they basically give to designers to upcycle. And it's often like these kind of things, like a little tiny hole. You can get the clothing almost for free, so it's definitely worth checking out if there's maybe some initiative in your area as well. And it makes me kind of happy to even like, you know, use these things that are actually broken or have like a tiny little hole or a little stain and still be able to use it. And I'm not sewing it inside out, I'm sewing it wrong. I'm sewing it right, but right is wrong. I'm not gonna do it difficult with a seam ripper.
I'm not like a regular mom, I'm a cool mom.
If everything is so random, I'm just cutting it off again and sewing it back on the right way. So confused. Time for a coffee break. It's just I decided to leave all these things on last time, not realizing that they would unravel, and it's a bit like growing hair on your jumper or something, like it's getting longer and longer and longer. So you do have to kind of keep it in check sometimes and be your own hairdresser of your shirt. I'm not gonna lie guys, I'm a little bit worried about this pattern. It's getting so crazy! I just hope it's not gonna be unflattering. I have these two patchworks, basically one for the left leg and one for the right leg. One thing that might stand out a little is this is the second one I made. This was the first one I made. I don't know if you can see it well, but this one has much bigger pieces. I just didn't put them together. So they're a bit different, but I honestly don't mind that much.
Look, face bothered, pork pounder, ain't even bothered. Pom-pom, cheerleaders, ain't even bothered. Look, face bothered, ain't bothered, ain't bothered. Ain't bothered, look, face, pork pounders, gherkins, ain't even bothered.
It looks very rough and very, well, let's call it avant-garde. So let's cut the crap, literally, and get the pattern out of the fabric. The only thing that you really have to pay attention to is that you cut one left leg and one right leg. So I'm putting my dogs to work and let them press the fabric as flat as possible, because yeah, it is bulging a little bit and I'm still worried a little bit. But let's see, we're now just gonna cut the legs. This is like how you would normally cut a pattern part out of the fabric. First sew the leg together. Hopefully this will be all worth it. As you see me here struggling a little bit, like how to lay the fabric to be able to sew the crotch seam together. I guess all these different colors just are really distracting sometimes. But yeah, wrong side on wrong side. Okay, guys. That's a crooked pants. But I'm gonna try it before I'm gonna put in the waistband to see if we maybe have to make some adjustments. Okay, that was not looking too bad. Actually, it was fitting quite well. I just think that maybe around the waist I'm gonna take a little bit in. And well, there's enough seams to take something in. And as a last step, I'm just cutting the waistband quickly. I did not really want to choose white, but that was basically the only fabric that I still had like longer pieces from. So I made the waistband a little bit shorter than the actual length of the fabric of the pants, so that everything would be nice and tight up there. And I'm quickly sewing it in. I think I didn't even really pin it down to the pants, but I would recommend you would do that. Ooh. Ooh. So voila, that's my cycling pants. It does have a little bit of quirky 3D kind of shape still, but I think I'm just gonna leave it, to be honest. I kind of enjoy it, and I think this crazy thing is gonna be more of a photo shoot kind of thing, that I'm gonna wear it a lot. But if you're annoyed by some kind of crazy points sticking out, like what's happening in my pants, I think you can just easily go over it again. Just use some pins to see how much you want to get out, and just go over it again with the lock machine, and you might end up with some extra seams. But who cares, because the seams are part of the fun in this thing, isn't it? So it was a little bit uncontrolled, a little bit free improvisation, kind of freestyle sewing. I really enjoyed to do that, because normally with a sewing project you cannot really get away with it, and I feel like with this kind of patchwork kind of things you can get away with it actually. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know with a thumbs up and a comment down below, and I hope that you will subscribe to my channel for weekly new, fresh, cool content, in my opinion. And if you do any project inspired by my channel, #FashionRec, and tag me on Instagram, because I would love to see what you are doing at home. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys.